Last week, we saw one of the worst HOH reigns that I've honestly seen in a while, so surely things can only go up from here, right? Well, there is now a new HOH in the game with 2 huge new targets that are surely going to shake up the house. There's going to be a few things to get to today, but of course, before we get started on all that, I'm going to ask if you would please hit that subscribe button below. I know I say this all the time, but if you are someone who generally only watches the TV edit, then you are really missing out, because the way they explain this game on the show sometimes is honestly just ridiculous. For example, to me, they did a really terrible job of explaining why Mickey chose to put Jimmy up in the first place and why that was such a bad decision for her game. Like on the show, they made it sound like it was Vince's idea, and they made it seem like Jimmy was trying to form this whole other alliance on the other side of the house, and most of that just is not true. So live feed recaps like this are here to keep track of what actually goes on in the Big Brother house day to day. So please make sure you check out my videos from last week if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button below and let's get started. So as we just saw, Jimmy was just evicted in a 9-2 vote. And normally, I'll be honest, I usually don't love watching the evictions actually happen live because they're usually pretty boring and slow and repetitive. But I think everybody is going to agree that this one was just instantly iconic. Now, going into the vote, Rachel was always really going to be the sole vote for Jimmy to stay. But as we saw on the episode, she was busy up until the very last minute trying to secure votes for Jimmy. And while I love to see it and I appreciate all that effort from Rachel, I really do. Ultimately, all of this was really just a waste of time. I mean, Jimmy is definitely the house target, and at this point, everybody knows that the votes aren't there, except for Ashley, I guess. You see, Ashley never wanted Jimmy to go up on the block in the first place, and after he was put up, she was busy trying to work the house a little bit, being low-key, but also trying to see if there was any momentum to get Jimmy to stay. But eventually, Mickey finds out about all of this, and she immediately tries to shut all that down.
I've given pros and cons. Yes, I told you that yesterday. I didn't lie about that. And it is the truth to this day. If you were not HOH, I would be 50-50. I would be. Neither of them, I'm not besties with neither of them. Both of them are playing the exact same game. So I'd be sitting here lying, saying 100% Jimmy should go if you were not HOH. That is a lie.
So since there was already this bitterness and tension between her and Mickey, I cannot for the life of me figure out why Ashley would decide to change her vote only to change it again 30 seconds later.
I'm so sorry I messed up. Jimmy, sorry.
No.
Her trying to change her vote is just so funny to me because I think it really represents who Ashley is as a player sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I think Ashley is very intelligent, but at the same time, she can be a little ditzy too, and I just think that this illustrated that perfectly. I think by far my favorite part of this whole thing was just how unnecessary and random it was. I don't know why Ashley would even listen to Rachel in the first place when it was clear that nobody else was. Of course, we didn't get to fully hear that conversation between Rachel and Ashley in the hallway, and it sounded like Rachel may have just been pretending like there were more votes there than there actually was. So hopefully we get more clarification on that in the next episode, but for now, Ashley has just been straight up lying about that vote. I don't even think she's admitted that she voted that way to Rachel yet. And normally on any other season, I would say that this was a bad idea and that Ashley would easily get sussed out. But with this cast, you really never know. So that spells the end of Mickey's HOH reign. And like I was saying earlier, I just feel like the show did a really bad job of highlighting just how bad this was for Mickey's game. No, Jimmy was definitely not always the best ally, but like he was saying in his exit interview with Julie, Jimmy would have never came for Mickey like this. He never would have treated her this way. So with Jimmy out the game, we are now officially in week 5. And after the eviction, the feeds were off for quite a while. And during this time, rumors were circulating in the fandom that the next HOH would be a knockout competition. Of course, those are always fun and messy because people really have to show their cards, when they select who gets to face off against who. And it's usually the more liked and the more trusted people that are usually at an advantage here. So it really wasn't much of a surprise when the feeds come back on and we see that Ava Pearl is our new HOH. Of course, she is like one of the biggest fan favorites out there, so everybody was excited. But at the same time, I don't want to do too much because I said the exact same thing last week, okay? But I will say, so far so good. Things are looking a lot better strategically. So let's take a moment and talk about where Ava stands in the game. So from a social standpoint, Ava is honestly probably in the best position in the house. No one was really looking to target her at all, just the people around her. So if anything, she was only in danger of being a pawn, which obviously still isn't good, but I'm just trying to say she wasn't on anybody's target list going into this week. She does still have that final two with Rachel, even though they started to grow apart a little bit last week. But out of everybody, she definitely seems to be the closest to Mickey and Will strategically. Honestly, the main drama in Ava's game was that she was part of that whole voting mess between Mickey and Ashley and Jimmy. You see, Ava was the one who first snitched to Mickey that Ashley was secretly trying to get votes for Jimmy to stay. And things got really messy after that. Like for a while, Ava was swearing up and down that she was down to target Ashley and all this stuff. But since then, things have cooled down a lot and Ava is not as heated anymore, so she is back on the mission.
I'm gonna talk to her and I'm gonna say, listen, Ashley, I'm just being real with you. Yesterday, with the whole Jimmy situation, I don't know where you put your vote. I don't know what you did. I don't care. I'm keeping you safe. But in that, the only people you need to talk to now are within our crew.
So pretty much right off the bat, as soon as the feeds come on, we're going to hear Ava tell Rachel who she wants on the block, completely confident, no hesitation. And that's Keanu, Zach, and Vince.
I'd love to talk to you.
And I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
It's Vinny and it's Zach. But I will say I am nominating Keanu. I know that's maybe not the best, but it's Vinny, Zach, Keanu, I think. Is that okay?
Oh my, it's your choice, but I mean, that sounds...
This is what I'm going to do. I'm doing a whole smorgasbord tomorrow. It's going to be a feast.
Finally, yes. See, this is the type of gameplay that I've been waiting to see, y'all. And I think the best part about this is Keanu isn't even her target. She feels the need to put Keanu on the block because they don't really get along and they got into that little argument last week and all that stuff. But for the first time since week 1, Keanu isn't even the target to go home. That spot is reserved for Vinny. See, Rachel had warned Ava that Vince was running around playing everybody back in week 3, and ever since then, Ava's been on his ass.
Frankly, he talks game to everybody except me, and the only time he talked game to me was to try to get your ass out of this house.
Exactly.
Zach.
Exactly.
That's the time he talked game to me.
Exactly. So the chickens have come to roost. You spend 3 hours talking to Lauren. You spend 3 hours talking to Morgan.
Yes, sir. Sorry that I'm not laying in the hammock with you.
Exactly.
Ava and Will end up going up to the HOH room to talk some game. They end up cracking up a bottle of wine and Ava just starts telling Will her whole plan. And this was just so cute, y'all. I absolutely loved everything about this conversation because they were having a time in there. They just keep on pouring that wine. They actually end up finishing the whole bottle with just the two of them. And the entire time for like an hour, they're just sitting together, getting drunk and talking cash shit.
You know.
And what am I going to say tomorrow? I'm going to say I'm putting up the people that were nervous about my HOH. Because that proves you don't trust me. And the people that are Vinny, the Lip Panaro, Zachary... Body T. Game blocked.
Oh my God.
Did I say that?
You better stop.
Now, as much as I love all this for Ava, there is going to be a big problem with her plan that she's not going to see coming, and that is Zach's power. If you remember back on day 1, Zach had won that secret power that allows him to remove himself off the block anytime before jury, so I'm sure he's going to be using that this week. And that means that Ava is gonna need to have some replacement nominees in mind, but lucky for her, she's already got that figured out too. You see, Ava thinks that Morgan is the perfect person to fill that spot because she's already so close to Zach and Vinny, and I gotta say, from Ava's standpoint, I have to agree. Ava just isn't nearly as close to Morgan as she is to Mickey. And in this conversation, Lauren's name is brought up too, so I think she would be the 5th nominee, if anything.
What if Morgan plays the veto? You can't renom her.
Well, then if Morgan plays veto, Morgan plays veto. There's nothing I can do about it. What's the point of worrying about it?
No, I'm saying, like, who would be the backup renom?
Well, then, backup renom, unfortunately, it might have to be Lauren.
So Morgan first, Lauren second.
Yeah.
Now, I am expecting Mickey to try to sway Ava against putting up Morgan just a little bit. Mickey is still sus of Morgan's relationship with the guys, like she knows that that's a problem, but I also feel like she'd rather see Ashley up on the block instead. She was venting to Ava about how annoying Ashley was and that she was getting on her nerves and all this stuff last night, but she didn't really try to push for her to go up on the block. It just wouldn't surprise me if she did start to push at some point during the week. So nominations still haven't happened yet at the time of this recording, and really the one-on-ones haven't happened yet either, but also Ava says that she doesn't really want to do a traditional HOH, and she doesn't want to do one-on-ones and meet with everybody anyway, so there's that. Right now it's sounding pretty straightforward that Keanu, Zach, and Vince are all going to hit the block, but since Zach is likely going to be using his power, I expect to see Morgan up there instead. Vince can definitely tell that he's getting into trouble this week because he has been in that house spiraling all night. First, he was talking to Will for like an hour, trying to butter him up because he knows that Will is close to Ava. But really, it is just too late for all that. Vince's game has officially been clocked.
I don't know, it's just not a good feeling when you hear everyone around you say that they're safe. Everyone's really, really comfortable right now, except for me. And it's just, like, if that's me getting in my own head, I told Morgan, it's like, I'm standing with all my friends, and everyone's getting picked for the team.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and I'm by myself, and I'm like,
Wow.
room for one more? No? Okay.
So that's all I have for you today. Of course, I want to know, how do you feel about Ava being our new HOH? Are you excited to see her reign, or would you rather have had someone else win instead? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to be hopeful for this week because Ava sounds like she's going to be the type of player who's not just going to let anybody and everybody get into her head, which I love. But I am also aware that the strategic gameplay just has not been it this season. So again, I don't want to do too much. Of course, I'll be back here likely on Saturday night to update y'all with what happens with the veto and the official nominations. But until then, bye.